Hey, everybody. Carl Swenson, CEO and co-founder of Pologic. Nice to meet you. I have a long career in industry. I started in management consulting. I've worked in technology industry, mostly along the lines of supply chain operations, manufacturing, Salesforce automation, all those various areas. I've worked in retail in various industries. Um, we started Pologic about 2.5 years ago. There's four co-founders, the professor, myself, and two other co-founders. We collectively have 100 years experience in this space, relevant to the space. And if you're basically the folks that are interested in this, if you're a manufacturer, if you are a distributor, if you are a retailer, and you have inventory, finished goods inventory, you have customers, we can help you. So, and we work across all those different areas, supply chain, inventory nodes. We solve the problem of what I call inventory distortion. What do I mean by that? So, inventory distortion is a term that's coined by a group called IHL. They're a well-known advisory firm in retail and consumer goods, Greg Buzak and some other guys. And this is their most popular topic that they report on every year. They update the numbers every year. They define inventory distortion as having too much of the wrong inventory and not enough of the right inventory to satisfy future customer demand. And they said coming out of COVID, it was a $2 trillion problem. This past year, it's a $1.8 trillion problem. So it's a huge opportunity for companies to solve. So I mentioned Pologic was started 2.5 years ago. Again, it's based on the life work of Dr. Benoit Mentreau. He leads the Supply Chain and Logistics Institute at Georgia Tech. He's been there 8 years. He's originally from Canada, Quebec, Canada. Um, his um, his research has focused on how do you optimize supply chain inventory given unknown customer demand. He works with all the leading companies. He works with Amazon, Ford Motor Company. They reach out to him for new ideas, strategies of how they should be thinking about their supply chain. And he has about 50 PhD students that probably work under him today. The area that we've taken is research and have commercialized it is around the AI demand forecasting and inventory optimization. So what's unique about it? So his whole concept of how do you maximize product availability? And as part of this, he has two new metrics or concepts that we use and we apply in all of our algorithms. The first is PAR, product availability readiness. So essentially, it's a score that we give every item or SKU, every location, every day. And in this score is embedded all sorts of information about the consumer, their preferences, their feature, the things they prefer at a feature, function, color level. We look at multiple things, as you can see in the wheel, the product demand share, we correct for stockouts. We also look baked into our algorithms or substitution. This is really important because nobody really does this in any of these other tools that you've seen out there in terms of what's the probability I want a black car, it's not available. What's the probability you accept a dark blue car? 80%, pink car, 2%. So all these kind of things are built in at a very granular level. Also, how long will you wait for inventory? Because it has a big impact on how you deploy inventory, retail locations, e-commerce, wherever. And then other things that go into it. Second metric is autonomy. So you can think of PAR being like the mix of inventory, having the right inventory in the right locations for consumers. The second is autonomy. It's more like amount of inventory. Technically, it's like how long can this node survive before the PAR score starts being degraded and I need to be replenished. So again, two metrics. The other thing I would say about how we're different than all the other solutions out there. First of all, if you look at traditional, and I went to Georgia Tech, I studied inventory management control. Typically, all the traditional methods look at each item or SKU as an island or by itself. There's a concept of like min-max level, safety stock, cycle stock, economic order quantities, min order quantities. We don't look at it that way. We step back, we look at the entire product category, all the items within that, the features, the functions, the colors. How do consumers interact with it? What substitutes are they willing to accept? How long will they wait for inventory? And we solve at that level. So we get much better results. Um, the one other thing I will say is a lot of our other people say, well, how are you different than Kinaxis or O9 or Blue Yonder? The most of these solutions are a suite of tools they provide. They give you these tools and you have smart people. You're going to use these tools and you're going to solve and get good results, right? our solution just works. We do all the calculations, we work, and you can just implement us. And we're not an analytics play. We actually execute for the company on their behalf. So how do we work? So on the left side, we ingest data into our application, our platform, sales data, inventory data, some other data, and then we'll calculate the par score. Every item, every location, every day. The same item can have a different par score in different locations, right? Because the customers are different in that location versus other locations. We then aggregate that up at a product category, even a location. So for example, we might be 82% at a given location, say dealer location for this tractor dealership. That 82% means I have that 82% par means I have an 82% probability of satisfying the next customer that walks in. So it's future looking, it's probabilistic. By the opposite of that is true too. We have an 18% lost sales. So we've talked to really smart analysts in this space, and they say, Carl, this is refreshing because right off the bat, we know you have a simple metric and tool of know what is our potential for satisfying customers and what are lost sales. On the right side, the way we execute is we ingest the data. We do thousands of customer simulations. So we do a collection of what we call digital intelligence or technologies that come up with our answers. But we do thousands of simulations to really understand customer demand at a 99% confidence level or 95%. We then run our inventory algorithms to understand how we should deploy inventory throughout that retailer, that manufacturer, et cetera. And then when we first work with a customer, we'll provide a global view for them. Say, listen, if you were running our solution, we believe we could increase sales. Our first number one goal is having the right products in the right locations. We can increase sales 22%. And and also we see that there's about 43% unproductive inventory. You don't need that. So we provide that global view, but the way we execute is through replenishment instructions. So I worked at Oracle for 4 years. We implemented inventory management systems. We said, hey, listen, we need to implement this system. We have to map all the SKUs in your system that you have to 6 algorithms. We have 6 algorithms we use to manage replenishment logic, right? So we would map those, and we said, listen, if you don't like these 6, that's fine. You can use your own logic or your own secret sauce. Here's an API, a data feed. You tell us what to replenish, we'll execute on that. So that's true with Oracle. We have a customer using Shopify, and they also can do this as well as SAP. So we work through basically APIs for replenishment logic. So think of us like a really smart brain on top of your existing application, your existing systems. The other thing we say too is we don't say we're going to replace your systems. We work with your existing systems, and our focus is to cherry pick off high volume product categories. We solve product category for product category. So for example, for a well-known DIY company, we would focus on, outdoor power equipment, ceiling fans, faucets, lighting, things that are high value. We say over $100 price point or more. It's not that we can't do cheaper things, but we're a smaller company. We want to start where the money is, right? Where's the inventory value? Let us work with that. I'll pause here to see if there's any questions. I got a couple of just examples of savings, and then we'll jump into the demo. Tommy, I'll move on.
Yeah, move on. I should have, Paul's not here yet. Paul would have like 75 questions. That's what I just texted, tell him jump on. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
This question, there's 2 case studies here. One is our first, we started about 2.5 years ago. We spent about a year building out our application, building all the technology into it. This is our first customer, is a $6 billion global manufacturer of tractors, utility trucks, et cetera. They looked at our solution. They basically had nothing in this space. By the way, they have their North America one manufacturing plant, but they have 300 independent dealers. And what we've done is in the regions where we've deployed the solution, both with the manufacturer's inventory, they have some regional inventory, and at the plant plus their dealership, we've been able to increase revenue 25% and identified 55% unproductive inventory. So a huge reduction in that. Just realize where they've come from. In all these independent dealer situations, they typically decide what inventory to carry in their dealership. And there's mostly no science behind it, or that's why that number is so high of unproductive inventory. A second company is a top US retailer, really a top 5. They looked at our solution. They said, listen, this is unique. Nobody's This PAR metric we're very intrigued with that. Substitution, we don't do substitution, but it exists. That's reality, how things work in the world. Other things. So we went head to head with their team. They have a team of, I don't know, 40 or 50 data science and inventory specialists. They do everything in-house. And we beat that internal team with one product category across 19 e-commerce fulfillment locations, 15% revenue increase and a 19% inventory reduction we were able to demonstrate. So those are 2 points, 2 customers. We have now about 5 or 6 customers and about $1 million ARR. We can be implemented quickly. This is not implementing SAP, a heavy lift system. We can be up and running in 6 weeks with one product category. We ingest data that we need. We run it into our platform. We run our models. We tune our models, and then we provide recommendations, and we're ready to go. Next is the demo. Before I jump into that, any questions? Everyone gets it.
I mean, I'll say that's a pretty damn good deck. I'll just say that.
Tommy, we're surgical. We're not going in. We're not like an 09, a Kinaxis. You're going to buy $10 million worth of software. We're going to go in, solve a specific problem very well, the whole inventory piece of it, without all the other things around it, and we get results, right? And we're a SaaS-based model. You pay us monthly. Our customers have always renewed with us, right? We don't have any defections. Okay. Demo.
There's some companies like HP and stuff that are on here that are going to want to know how many customers you have. Like, what are the largest size? Like, what's the largest? They're going to wonder about scalability. And
we had a conversation with the largest retail in the world, and we're talking with them. We've another conversation with one of the top 2 DIY retailers. Our first customer is a $6 billion manufacturer.
Perfect.
We're finding a lot of traction with manufacturers, independent dealer network, because we've already solved for that. We just sold another $1 billion manufacturer that has snow blowers and lawnmowers and independent dealer network. Also, one of the co-founders, Taresh, has experience in the lighting industry. And the lighting industry is very immature in terms of technology. If anybody's familiar with it here, there's manufacturers, there's distributors, there's agents. And we're actually taking our solution, modifying it slightly for lighting. So we believe there's a huge opportunity in lighting just because it's not very mature in terms of technology and processes.
I used to work with a big lighting manufacturer 20 years ago, and no, they're not very sophisticated.
Lily. The selling process, how they get demand signals, it's not sophisticated. The agents distort everything. You get it. So yeah, we've got a solution for that.
Lily.
I've got a question.
Yes.
It's Lily. So speaking of HP, Lily works as a data scientist within the small group of that works a lot with marketing at HP.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Lily.
Yes, so you know that Hewlett Packard Enterprise, or HPE, is a B2B company. It means that we provide the storage, server, cloud networking solutions to the enterprises. So my question is that for your software about maximizing the product availability, right? What is your experiences of predicting the demand for B2C versus B2B? So how is your solutions different for B2B companies versus B2C companies?
Good question.
Yeah, let me share my screen 1 second here.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, Lily. So we look at demand in different ways, right? So if we have B2B demand versus B2C demand, the type of demand I talked about in retail is really B2C, and it's that stock and flow demand forecast on the bottom. So that has its own characteristic. On the B2B, we're doing this in the lighting industry. We call it project-based demand. So essentially in the lighting industry, and this is true for a lot of other industries, they have salespeople that go out and are trying to sell various products. They put in their CRM applications, what they're looking to sell, what items, what probabilities, and then those either come to fruition or they don't. So we are able to import that data, we're able to provide a really deep dive on the data from the CRM and what the probabilities are, and as well as what the track records are of other salespeople. We use other tools to come up with a really good demand profile for that. We use that in the lighting industry for B2B.
Got your point. So we have separated data and models for B2B versus B2C.
Right.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, we've actually talked to part companies. If you're familiar with auto parts, spare parts, they have a different demand profile. I've done work in the auto space, and if you have parts, you have to look at failure rates. You have to look at census data, products by zip code. You have to look at competitor information. So that would be like a third even kind of demand profile. And we've talked about that. We're just not there yet. So.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm going to go to a demo. Let me just switch here.
Before you get to the demo, let me ask a quick question. I'm just curious. Let me also say this real quick. I'm just looking down and who's here. There's some healthcare here. There's IT here. There's some logistics here. Retail. Some finance. So, we got a question before I do that. VJ, please.
Hey, thanks, Swami. Carl,
Yes.
just a very interesting question. We are an AI agents company, and when we are working with few customers, they are looking for external demand signals, right? For example, some weather disruption happens, and you have to replenish according to that. So, do you consider weather and some of these real-time demand replenishment scenarios as well,
Yeah.
and where it can be get little AI and agentic to bring the data in and then do impact your models for companies?
Yeah, those are demand signals, and we're constantly building them into the product as we need them. For example, like the retailer, they have information about promotions. If they have promotions, we need that diary, right? The calendar, what products, and what dates, because that'll impact, demand. It'll increase demand by a certain percentage. We can auto-calculate that. Some of the other things, weather can have a dampening effect sometimes on certain product categories. That's a demand signal or input that we can bring into our model. So we have the ability to do that, and then we just add them as we need to based on the customer, right? Given every customer has specific demand signals like their inputs. So yes.
Great. Just want to know because we see a lot of these interest in bringing real-time demand signals into the forecasting models and AI agents coming and playing roles. We're just not sure where and how. Would be happy to talk to you offline and
so you actually you bring a good point out. We're in the process. Our solution is built in modules. We're actually in the process of marketing and then having our solution be AI agents. So we have about 12 identified AI agents. They're basically like team members. They provide different functions, a forecasting function and inventory. So there's different functions each of the AI agents do, and that's what we're kind of migrating to. Our solution is already built modular, so we're just going to kind of formalize that.
We got another one from. We got a couple of questions. We got one from Eric.
Yeah. Hi, Eric.
Hey, hi guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
let me just set the stage. Eric is somebody we've known for a while. He consults and does a lot around IoT, and he's got a lot of international clients as well too. So
cool.
All right, go ahead, Eric.
Thank you. Yeah. We got middleware and multi-protocol data collection capabilities for real-time stuff. It's used for like industrial, collecting data from equipment, machines, and so forth that may be related to production, like a food company, right, or a cement company. At the same time, we have like airports. We do people counting, and then we are looking to identify the opportunities within the airport in terms of giving a more real-time dynamic of what's going on with planes coming in and bathrooms used by like 80% of the people. So there is that tends to give you a tremendous amount of data, which could be converted into the flows that go into the concessions and things like that, and generate demand and so forth. So I just gave you, and there's a third segment, like for instance, a shoe store that wants to have beacons of the shoes on the walls, so they can track who touched what shoe, regardless of purchase. Right? Your software is from what I see, more connected to the actual transactional thing from like the POS and things like that. Have you considered, or is the value in the enhancement of the real-time data that we generate from the environment into the
Yeah.
forecasting process and things like that?
Yeah. So our solution assumes that the data is accurate or somewhat accurate, right? And so we work on that premise. But we don't get involved in tracking or warehouse management, the execution and movement of it. That's not our space. We just take
That's what we do.
systems we work with. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what we do, and we generate that kind of data.
Okay. Well, let's talk afterwards. If you maybe there's some work we could do together. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Chen,
Excellent.
Chen,
Yeah. So, Carl, question for you.
Yeah.
We're all about decarbonization and usage and analyzing supply chain. When we get engaged with customers, I was since you're talking automotive, I was just thinking about BMW. BMW
Yeah.
has 300,000 suppliers around the globe, and depending on where they're building the cars and assembling the cars, it may have a different carbon footprint based upon where you get your parts from and how it's made.
Yes.
So are you dealing with the supplier level data that's being pulled into the SAPs of the world, or are you generating that data on the fly based upon your models? I didn't know how that gets created and who owns what.
We typically work with finished goods, not components, right? Other things
Okay,
go into
okay.
making something. So
Okay.
typically finished goods and customers. So we optimize the demand, the customer, what they're thinking, what they want, and what finished goods, what locations, how much, where, what do you manufacture, and what quantities. We do have one customer for one of our large manufacturers. We're already providing component predictions using PAR as our guidance.
Yep.
Chassis, they have to make commitments 9 months in advance what
Yep.
chassis to purchase from Japan.
Yep.
We're providing that guidance very accurately. Another customer manufacturer has asked, we want you to help go downstream to our components. Now, we're
Yeah.
not an MRP system. That's not what we are, but we are getting forced down that. We're kind of slowly getting forced down that road, but I don't know if that's where
and so Neurocarbon, we bridge the gap between the supply chain, the demand gen side, demand planning per se, and how that's going to actually impact the financial forecast. So that's what I was trying to understand. It's like, okay, if I know that my finished goods is going out the door 10 widgets a day, does that mean that I need to buy more widgets from my suppliers in order to restock my shelves?
if we're successful, you're selling more, because essentially what we do, we increase conversion rate. Customer shows up,
Got it.
customer shows up, you have what they want. You have in stock, or you can get within their time frame something that's acceptable. So instead of a 70% conversion, you go to an 85% conversion. So you're selling more. That's how we sell more, is a conversion increase. We reduce lost sales.
Okay. And then next, sorry for all these questions. So as I'm thinking about agricultural goods, cheese, right? So
Yeah.
you take a 10-ton block of cheese and you're making it into 8 ounces slices. And the reason why cheese is important to me, we're working with a cheese manufacturer to understand their carbon footprint down to the actual product SKU that goes out the door. And so many customers are now choosing quote unquote green goods over non-green goods. And are you seeing that as a signal? Is that part of your, can we provide that level of data to you so you can see if that's actually driving sales or not? That's probably my first question.
I guess, is cheese discrete? I guess it is. It is discrete, correct?
I think so.
We tend to work with discrete manufacturers for items, not process.
It's both. It's actually both. We work on both sides.
We tend to focus on higher value, complex items, complex selling processes, complexity in features, functions, colors. Cheese wouldn't fall into that category. However, we do have a component on to help companies be more green or more sustainable, is we can reduce inventory carrying, how much inventory you carry and the carrying costs associated with that. So think about it. I live in Atlanta. You find Atlanta, you see hundreds, if not thousands, of warehouses full of things. Just imagine there are half that many, right? We could, if our technology impact, you don't need to carry as much inventory, right? So that's a direct impact to reducing carbon footprint.
Chen, I accidentally put you on mute. Sorry about that. So if you want to have follow up, we can take this offline. I think that's good. I do want to show the platform, kind of stick on time.
Yeah.
I'm curious. One of the customers that I'm working with, distribution, and what we're trying to do, we're working with R4, which is a platform that we showed. First one, which I love. It's a yield optimization platform, right?
Mhm.
But it's really kind of, if you really think about it, price to inventory, demand to price to inventory to purchasing all should be kind of integrated, right?
Mhm.
But SAP says it does it, but I've never, let's be honest. Procurement does what it wants to, and price has nothing to do with pricing, and pricing does nothing really to do with procurement. But it's not a seamless process, but they're wanting to put a seamless process between demand planning, pricing, right? Then that has automated inventory, which then, just in time, how much of each part should, you can think they have thousands and thousands of SKUs.
Yeah.
And then based off of that, then procurement orders, right? And so if they get a 50% discount, should procurement order it? I don't know. Is that going to cause inventory to stay longer? Is that going to cause it to have to do discounts on the front? Like, all of that should be integrated to tell one story, and it's not, right?
Yeah.
So my question is
Yeah.
how would you? It sounds like you play in and around. How would you?
Pricing is a component of what we do, but we're not a pricing optimization tool. I'm familiar with that space.
Yeah.
That is not where we're going. There's components of pricing in our solution. We want to sell for the manufacturer. We want to sell what they have at full price. So we're the manufacturer's best friend. We're going to make sure they make the right amounts in the right locations, stock the right places to sell what they have at full price. There is pricing in some of the things we do, but we're not a pricing
I wonder if I
optimization.
could attach R4 to what y'all do, and R4 do the price optimization, which is one of their
Possible.
specialties.
You could combine. So, yeah.
All right, so
When I
we'll talk
worked
about that later.
We implemented markdown optimization. So like, seasonal apparel, you make a bet of how much to buy. By the end of the season, you want to be out of stock at the end of the season. If it sells below the curve, you want to start marking it down to 20%, 30%, 40%. That's not our tool. So
I'll give you another example. I was talking to a multi-billion-dollar retailer who did a promotion with an influencer, and somehow the marketing didn't get back into the inventory, and in 5 days they were sold out of the product. So great program.
Yeah,
And
we have a
except-
customer like that, by the way. That's a demand signal. That's not a problem.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to get you in touch with, that's one of my clients in Atlanta. We'll get in touch with.
Awesome. I'm in Atlanta too.
Yep.
By the way, I posted my LinkedIn on the chat. So if you guys want to reach out to me, so there's a way to reach me there.
right.
Real quick, how much time? We have like 10 minutes max. Okay.
Well, no. You got 15 minutes. Show the product, show the platform.
Okay. 1 second.
I can even give you 20 if you need it, but 15
That's
would be
fine.
good.
I don't think it'll take that long. So can you guys see my screen? I'm already logged in.
By the way, is Nick at UPS? Well, he used to be at UPS. He was supposed to be on here today. He accepted, but I haven't seen him. But have you talked to him about this?
Who is Nick? No.
Nick Kostidas. He was CTO of UPS,
Oh,
but he was
yes,
also all the
I
way
know.
in virtual.
Yes, I know Nick. He knows about this, but it's been probably a year and a half now. So we've made huge strides since then.
All right. So I'd love to. All right.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So what I'm going to show you is pretty much a dashboard. It's basically the tip of the iceberg. What you're seeing, most of all the heavy lifting are the simulations, the algorithms, the things you don't see. Okay. I'll just say that, right? This is one of our manufacturers. Again, they have 300 independent dealers. You can see the map below. Essentially right now in this demo, this isn't real data, it's a demo environment. They have an 83% par across the United States. What does that mean? They have any customer that walks to any dealership anywhere in the country, there's an 83% probability they can satisfy them. And there's a 17% lost sales because based on the mix of product at each and every dealer across the country. And you can kind of see that demonstrated Here by region, various region scores, right? Green is good, right? Over 90%. Red's bad. Actually, Canada hasn't really got onto the program yet. But anyway, these are just some regional views of the situation of what's going on. And then below is a map view of the country. And then you could zoom into a different, given region, say the Mid-Atlantic, and you can look at each and every system and see how, each and every dealer to see how they're doing. So this is a manufacturer dealer. This could also be a retailer. This could be an e-commerce company with multiple e-commerce fulfillment across the country. You can view the PAR score. So there's PAR and autonomy. We've provided the ability. This is like for each of the different dealers, you can go in and you can look at what we're recommending. The way the process works with this customer is the regional sales manager works with the dealers to decide which products to stock at the dealer locations. So if we look at Shanks Lawn Equipment, they're 68% PAR. Not great, right? So we're recommending certain things to get to a 98% PAR, right? We're recommending, there's the current inventory on the left. We're recommending these products in the middle to drive their PAR scores up, okay? And so, and then we give the ability to play around with it. A lot of this stuff happens automatically. Some of our customers, this just runs automatically. They don't even look at the replenishment. Like one of our large retailers say, Carl, we just want your algorithms and replace what we're doing, and we'll just use your logic instead of ours to identify what to replenish, okay? So other thing to look at, the lower left at this dealer, we show what's productive inventory, green, what's unproductive, red, right? This is high value tractors, but it applies to all sorts of product categories. And the other thing they've asked us to do is we provide information for this dealer about their market share. We get industry data about what in their industry others are selling, and we can see how they're performing against their competitors. Red is their below market share, penetration, green above. And so you can kind of see some of that here. Any questions on this? Why close it? I mean, we could look at some others here. But
Hey,
it's
Doug.
just
Hey,
a
Doug.
tool provided.
Give me a
Yeah.
second. Hey, Doug. Not to
Yeah.
put you on the spot, but with this, I'm trying to think how would this play with your industry?
Well, I guess there's some possibilities.
Which
And
industry?
not to put you on the spot. So he owns he works for a company that owns a ton of lots of pawn shops. So inventory is always, it's not quite the fit. It's not manufacturing, but I'm just wondering with customer demand and that area.
What's unique about the pawn business is that we don't have vendors, right? We don't get our product from vendors. We get product from customers. So
Yeah.
what we have on hand. So it's not a replenishment problem, right? It's a how to define the product is probably a bigger problem use case for us than that. So it's probably not a perfect fit, but anything that has to do with identifying the product or analyzing demand for product is still of use.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would agree. I don't think it's a good fit. Yeah.
I don't think so either. I think maybe R4 might be the play there. I think R4 might be the play there. Okay. It was just curious.
Some other screens, like we look at demand forecast, and this one, we within confidence levels, we project what demand is, and everything we do is probabilistic. It's not deterministic. So again, everything is handled that way. Inventory analytics, it's a big deal for this company. If we look at, like, for example, certain regions, let's do Northwest. We can view by the different product categories that, green is good, productive inventory, red's unproductive, right? And if you look over here on the right, the aging, anything red is over a year old. Now, these are tractors at dealer locations. So all this is unproductive inventory. And we can see how we can drive product availability readiness on the waterfall chart on the left. And again, more detail we can kind of dig into. The other thing, question.
No, I was just gonna say I was looking to see if Paul was on here. Paul, I think he said he was gonna go on vacation today though. He's CFO of well, they have three different companies, but they're big distribution, oil field distribution parts, and then they got another one that's marine, right? So you can think of thousands of SKUs, and this is absolutely one of his problems. Remind
Everybody
me,
knows they have an inventory problem.
yeah,
Tommy.
remind me. We will have a conversation with him in January.
I mean, Tommy, if you gave me a list of all the folks on this call, not in the names, but just the companies, I could tell you, okay, these 30 out of the 100 would be candidates.
I have several healthcare companies on there. Do you play with healthcare at all? And I also have pharma.
That's demand and that's inventory. Yes, we could do that.
Okay.
I've actually talked with a large pharma company, International Pharma. They were very interested in this. So just to kind of wrap up, we help with helping find inventory, unproductive inventory. We provide performance data. Again, this is all the things that this customer had asked for. And we do swapping analysis of trying to find unproductive inventory. How can we swap it out with other customers, things of that nature. So, I mean, these are tools that they've asked for that we're giving them to help them move inventory, right? And this is expensive inventory. And then for them, for every dealer, we generate a specific report on what we're recommending and why for their dealership so that they can be more successful. Yanmar uses this as a tool. It's part of the package they give new dealers. We're investing in you. We're trying to make you successful. Here's some digital tools as part of it, right? So that's this capability. So other customers, retailers, we're just doing the inventory, the replenishment logic, right? And helping them identify what to replenish when and where. And also we're applying a lot of information about suppliers. One of the large retailers has asked us to help them with suppliers. Our suppliers are not delivering on time, 100% complete. We can use our algorithm, since it's not tools, it's just a calculation almost in our platform and analysis. We can provide that manufacturer, that vendor, very detailed, specific requirements based on sales and sales forecasts, how much inventory they need to support that retailer. So improve their in-stock rate, improve their on-time delivery. So that's one thing we're talking about, use of this technology. Again, this is a supply chain tech. It can be widely used, but we're focused now just a few industries, like I mentioned, manufacturing with dealer network, lighting industry, and then companies with e-commerce operations right now.